Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Inshallah, I'm going to remind everyone and myself that today is Friday. One of the best things that you can say is Allahumma salli ala Sayyidina Muhammad. Send your peace and blessings to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And I'm also going to remind myself and everyone that the angels will be writing the names of those who come to pray one by one. And when the Imam comes and goes on the minbar, they will close their books and sit to listen. That means when the Imam is giving the khutbah, you should not be talking or doing anything else other than paying attention and listening. Inshallah, to benefit from this time, we're going to recite a few ayat from Surah Al-Kahf. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله الذي أنزل على عبده الكتاب ولم يجعل له عوجا قيما لينذر بأسا شديدا من لدنه ويبشر المؤمنين الذين يعملون الصالحات أن لهم أجرا حسنا ماكثين فيه أبدا وينذر الذين قالوا اتخذ الله ولدا ما لهم به من علم ولا لآبائهم كبرت كلمة تخرج من أفواههم إن يقولون إلا كذبا فلعلك باخع نفسك على آثارهم إن لم يؤمنوا بهذا الحديث أسفا إنا جعلنا ما على الأرض زينة لها لنبلوهم أيهم أحسن عملا وإنا لجاعلون ما عليها صعيدا جرزا أم حسبت أن أصحاب الكهف والرقيم كانوا من آياتنا عجبا إذ أوى الفتية إلى الكهف فقالوا ربنا آتنا من لدنك رحمة وهيئ لنا من أمرنا رشدا فضربنا على آذانهم في الكهف سنين عددا ثم بعثناهم لنعلم أي الحزبين أحصى لما لبثوا أمدا نحن نقص عليك نبأهم بالحق إنهم فتية آمنوا بربهم وزدناهم هدى وربطنا على قلوبهم إذ قاموا فقالوا ربنا رب السماوات والأرض لن ندعو من دونه إلها لقد قلنا إذا شططا هؤلاء قومنا اتخذوا من دونه آلهة لولا يأتون عليهم بسلطان بين فمن أظلم ممن افترى على الله كذبا وإذ اعتزلتموهم وما يعبدون إلا الله فأووا إلى الكهف ينشر لكم ربكم من رحمته ويهيئ لكم من أمركم مرفقا وترى الشمس إذا طلعت تزاور عن كهفهم ذات اليمين وإذا غربت تقرضهم ذات الشمال وهم في فجوة منه ذلك من آيات الله من يهد الله فهو المهتد ومن يضلل فلن تجد له وليا مرشدا وتحسبهم أيقاظا وهم رقود ونقلبهم ذات اليمين وذات الشمال وكلبهم باسط ذراعيه بالوصيد لو اطلعت عليهم لوليت منهم فرارا ولملئت منهم رعبا وكذلك بعثناهم ليتساءلوا بينهم قال قائل منهم كم لبثتم قالوا لبثنا يوما أو بعض يوم قالوا ربكم أعلم بما لبثتم فابعثوا أحدكم بورقكم هذه إلى المدينة فلينظر أيها أزكى طعاما فليأتكم برزق منه وليتلطف ولا يشعرن بكم أحدا.
السلام عليكم.
الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله.
إن الحمد لله ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا. من يهدي الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له، وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له، وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله، ونصلي ونسلم عليه وعلى آل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين وعلى أصحابه بجهدهم وتضحيتهم قام هذا الدين فرضي الله عنهم أجمعين. So we continue in our reflection of Surah An-Nas, but what we want to focus on today is some lessons that we can get from Surah An-Nas with regard to Al-Jalis Al-Salih or Al-Jalis Al-Su. And what that means is that when we look at Surah An-Nas, in the first ayah, Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala is described as the Rabb, yani Rabbun Nas, the one that created them, the one that gives them their provisions. Provision means what they need in life to function. Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala allows the sun to shine on whoever is in existence, whether rich or poor, whether Muslim or not Muslim, whether a practicing Muslim or not a so good of a Muslim in terms of practice. Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala is Rabbul Alameen. Here, Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala is telling us that He's Rabbun Nas. So we look, we see in the dunya what kind of people are out there. Nas is coming back to the point of human beings. Now, there's no doubt that when we look at the reality of life, living by yourself or being by yourself is, having friends is important. Even the whole issue, when we look at the way that Islam prepares us, and we're not going to talk about that today, but the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he gave some guidance to the youth. And he gave guidance to the youth with regard to your development. So we'll touch on it really briefly, and this is not the focus. But he said, especially, he was addressing the young men, but in that is included the young ladies as well. If you are able to support a wife or a family, and there's another hadith which it doesn't mention this point about the issue of supporting the family, but it mentions if you have the desire to be with a person of the opposite sex, get married. For verily, it lowers your gaze. When you see the person of the opposite sex, you have some feelings inside. And they say, whoever is not able, then that person should fast because it restrains the passions. And that's what we were on before. We were talking about the issue that inside of us, we feel a number of different things. We have ideas, we have feelings, we have emotions, and we also have, we have the desire to eat. We have the desire to sleep at times. We have to separate between those things, our thinking, our emotions, our desires, or our instincts. Islam prepares us for every phase of life. But part of sometimes when we start talking about dealing with people, some people we're closer to them than we are with others. Islam prepares us for that as well. Imam al-Ghazali rahmatullahi alayhi, he talked about friendship. And Imam al-Ghazali, when he's talking, he's teaching us about how to deal with ourselves, how to become better people. Islam encourages friendship first. We talked about when we get older, we, instead of being alone, we go to be married and we prepare ourselves for that. And here now we talk about the issue of friendship, because we're in the world with people. Friendship is something that, it's a relationship between two people. And in that relationship, it's supposed to be one in which we're taking care of each other. And in Islam, we have a general brotherhood that's tied to Iman. Our relationships to one another in the dunya, in this world, the dunya meaning a temporary period of time. The akhirah, what comes after, remains. But in this world, we say dunya because it means a temporary period of time that we're in this world. And we talked a little bit about how Allah tabaraka wa ta'ala swore by the time, so that we can have that understanding of ourselves. But Allah in this world doesn't just create us and leave us. Allah guides us in the process, and there's certain things that we need. But the human being is different than other creatures. What distinguishes us is our ability to think. What distinguishes us is our ability to make choices. And that means that in making choices and in thinking, sometimes we will make bad choices and sometimes we will make good choices. That's why the Quran is huda lil muttaqeen. It's guidance to those who take guidance from the Quran itself. But we have things like, we have to realize that it's not, we have to prepare ourselves for that. The concept of لَعَلَّكُمْ تَتَّقُونَ, when it comes to the issue of fasting, is because we have to prepare ourselves to be people of taqwa. Taqwa here meaning not just the issue of knowing that Allah tabaraka wa ta'ala is watching us, but our ability to practice what it is that the Quran is guiding us to. We don't just want to stay at the level of rules. Islam is not just rules. Islam is guidance. Sometimes rules, they may be broken, sometimes not. And in Islam, we have some principles for that. Some situations, we may find some hardship, we may need ease. But you just can't throw out all of the rules. You look at the highway. How the highway is a place that if you don't have respect for other people, it's not just the issue of rules. You can take somebody's life easily. It's not just the issue of you just do what you want. Take the highway for an example of life. There's some people on the highway, they don't have any regard, so they drive as like they are insane people, and they cause accidents. I can't tell you the amount of accidents that I've seen within the last 2 months. I've seen cars, I've seen trucks on the middle of the highway, the barrier, trucks like that. I've seen cars turned over. I've seen cars turned out, and that is the way that life is. Some people, they need to sleep. They need to take a break from life. They don't do it, so they cause injury to other people. Some people are on their cell phones talking. There's no regard for other people. They cause an accident. Some people are intoxicated with alcohol and drugs, and in the meantime, when they're dealing with other people with that vehicle, they cause accidents. And it's the same thing with life. If you remove the rules, the whole situation becomes more and more chaotic. But you have to know that sometimes you may have to break that rule in order to be able to what? To save your life or to save others' lives. The example of the highway is not too unlike life. The way that we are in our friendships is going to determine a lot about how that friendship operates. Is that friendship one in which I feel safe in? Is that friendship one in which is encouraging me to remember Allah tabaraka wa ta'ala? Or is that friendship one in which the person is described as الَّذِي يُوَسْوِسُ فِي صُدُورِ النَّاسِ, the one who whispers into the heart. We focus a lot, the youth like to focus on the issue of jinn and so on. It's like a horror story. You take it like a horror story. It becomes something that is fun to joke about. But the real horror story is the friend which is worse than the jinn, because the jinn, you don't see them and they don't impact you most of the time, especially if you protect yourself with the Quran, if you protect yourself with wudu, if you have a conversation with Allah Ta'ala, if you are not in the situation in which you're doing a lot of sin. But the friend can take you to the Jahim. But the friend is the one sometimes he can be in the crowd with you. You can be praying with him. And unfortunately can be the one that takes you to the Jahim, the one that takes you to do the haram. And unfortunately, sometimes the Muslim friend. Because we have friends sometimes that are not Muslim. When they know that you're Muslim, they enforce the deen more. Hey, yo, Muhammad, yo, Mo, I thought you were supposed to pray right now. And they end up as sometimes becoming Muslim. But sometimes the Muslim friend is the one that says, well, let's do this like this. Let's do this like that. There was one young brother, the father came to me crying. And he said, I sent my son to the masjid because he was having some difficulty in school with bad friends. And when I sent him to the masjid, it came out to be that Muhammad and Abdul Karim, they were the ones that, I'm changing the names, they were the ones that took him to go smoke marijuana, this and that, have a bigger problem. So how we are as friends, the issue of what we do in our lives, our anger, our selfishness, our hypocrisy, our betrayal, our laziness to do what we're supposed to do to build ourselves. Remember, we said Islam prepares you for life. At this young age, you're in preparation for the next stage of life, especially the young boys. If you're wasting most of your time playing video games, and that's what you're doing most of the time only. And I'm not knocking video games, because I know that some of you have friends when you play video games. And I know some of you learn certain things. But there's a time and a place for everything. The Sahaba, he said that they used to have fun and throw melons at each other. But when it came time to get serious, they were serious. It's important that you have those types of friends that you can trust. That you have those type of friends that love you. They say they love you. They show they love you. And how they love you is by ensuring that what they influence you by is that which is beneficial to you. What more so than a Muslim friend that understands Islam, that you're on the journey of life together and you enjoying upon each other what is beneficial in the deen. وَتَوَصَّى بِالْحَقِّ وَتَوَصَّى بِالصَّبْرِ. No, don't go over there. No, if why are you talking to her? In Islam we get married. No, if you try that, you know that it can have harm on you. It's not an issue of rules. It's an issue of knowing what's in your benefit and what's to your harm. When we look at the issue of shar in Islam, shar is that which brings you harm. And what shaitan does is shaitan yuzayyin al-amr lakum. He makes it look beautiful. That's why Jannah is surrounded by al-makarih. Jannah surrounded, it looks like hardship because it's work. And then when you work and when you invest and afterwards, then you take the benefit from the fruit of your labor. But Jahannam is surrounded by those things which incite your desire. It's fun, it's beautiful, but only to the eye for a moment. But behind the scenes was there. is your destruction. And we've seen it. We've seen the stages of life. Just like we started to talk about the stages of life, our creation. We talked about Surah Al-Alaq. And we've been talking about our preparation for life. We know the stories. We know the stories of what are out there. We know the people. We know the directions that they take. And we already have an idea of where they will be in 20 years, in 30 years, in 15 years. What's worrisome for me, especially for the young men, if you're not preparing yourself to understand yourself properly, and you have the wrong types of friends that are around you, and you're spending most of your time just getting all these different ideas, you don't know how to differentiate, is it beneficial or if it's not, because it seems all fun, is that in 15 years' time, you'll be a confused individual. The power that you have is the power to make decisions, to protect yourself from that which is sharr, which is harmful to you. And in closing, we want to say that Imam al-Ghazali, he says there's 5 types of people that are not worthy of friendship, that you shouldn't pay attention to these people because they don't know what's in their own interests, right? They don't know how to distinguish what's beneficial for them or harmful for them. A person that's always arguing all the time, that we see that on the internet. Where people always arguing all the time. The problem is not the internet. The problem is what the people bring to the internet. Or we see these TikTok videos and everybody's rushing to do the same video over and over again, and it's the stupidest video, and it's a video which is harmful to us. This is either talking about cheating, or it's talking about sex, or it's talking about how cool they are, or it's somebody laughing at somebody getting shot or somebody getting killed, versus it being some other thing, versus using TikTok for some other thing for the benefit. So those are people who don't know what's in their interest. The other issue is those who they incline to evil, they incline to the haram. Those who lie don't deserve to be friends. Those who are proud to lie. Those who are oppressors. Those who turn their backs on the deen of Islam. That type of person, we need to talk about how we deal with that in another session. But lastly, Imam al-Ghazali says those who drink wine and so on. And we say in today's time, in the 21st century, those who are smoking blunts, those who are popping pills, so on and so forth. Those people don't deserve to be friends. That doesn't mean we throw them to the trash, but that means you can't bring them close to you as الجليس الصالح. هذا جليس السوء. أقول قولي هذا واستغفر لي ولكم والحمد لله رب العالمين. اللهم صل على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما صليت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم وبارك على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما باركت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم في العالمين إنك حميد مجيد. So in closing, we wanted to say that what is it that our friends encourage us to? That's the reality. And when you don't have a friend that you can trust, what is it that you do? That's what we're trying to create here in these environments. And we keep telling some of you, especially you go to school all of your life together. One of the brothers that I know was telling me, Sheikh Khalid, he's from the East Coast. He's in Medina. He was saying some of my friends that I have, I've been with them 40, 50 years in life. 40, 50 years, and they've encouraged me to goodness, in other words. If we don't build that for each other, then we don't understand the meaning of life. Friendship is essential to life. But not everybody knows how to be a friend. People have to learn how to be a friend. Just like people have to learn how to be men. Just how people need to learn how to be Muslim. And so sometimes our parents intervene, and they intervene for good reason. And sometimes our parents don't understand. There's no doubt about that. but you know what your friends are taking you to. We ask Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala to help us and to aid us and to guide us. We ask Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala to give us good influencers. We ask Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala to strengthen us. We ask Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala to guide our youth to that which is good. We ask Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala to give them rushd. We ask Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala to protect them. We ask Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala to put joy into their hearts. We ask Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala to remove depression from them. We ask Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala to help them in their studies. We ask Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala that you allow them to experience the sweetness of Iman. We ask you, Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala, for those who are sick. And we ask you for those that have passed away, that you accept them, Allah. We ask you, Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala, that you bless this community and that you grow it and that you allow it to be based on Iman and knowledge. And we ask that you bring our families together, Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala. And we ask that you allow us to cooperate with each other. We ask you, Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala, that we may be the tower of dawah, Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala. And we ask you most of all that you accept the salah. Aqimu salah.
الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح قد قامت الصلاة قد قامت الصلاة الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله
Can you do me a favor? Can you shut off your cell phones? So like 2 seconds into the salah, the cell phone is not ringing for us. Take a break from the dunya. Allahu Akbar. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. والعصر إن الإنسان لفي خسر إلا الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات وتواصوا بالحق وتواصوا بالصبر. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. بسم الله. قل هو الله أحد الله الصمد لم يلد ولم يولد ولم يكن له كفوا أحد. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله.
شو اسمك مشان اخوي ما بسام جبل خلص ما يوصل تجويد is colored. I think you said I have to, but it's been so busy. Yeah, خلاص ان شاء الله
We wanted to make dua really fast for the mother of one of our brothers here. She passed away many of the brothers. So we ask Allah Ta'ala to accept her and to forgive her and to wash away her sins and to give her the highest states of Jannah. We ask Allah Ta'ala to facilitate for her her journey. And we ask Allah Ta'ala to ease the hearts of the families, to remove from them grief and to replace in their hearts happiness. And we ask Allah Ta'ala to make death a lesson to us. And we ask that Allah accept us all.
I tried to come sometimes to